I'm glad to be here this afternoon. I'm really happy to be able to share with you. But the field that I'm in, the platform that I share, if you read my post this morning, I said I would have liked it if my platform brought more joy and laughter. It doesn't. But I want to say welcome to each and every one of you, and I still would like to see some smiles on your faces, and I trust that for those who really need this information, it would be a blessing to them that we have taken time out and can come on here this afternoon. I posted an article this morning which was very, very disturbing for me. I could not even for more than like 30 seconds or less look at those images. It's devastating at what's going on out there in the world today. And for some reason, or at this time, it is being blamed on COVID-19 lockdown. I trust that everyone is safe in spite of. I just want to talk a little bit about the article, just to let you know that the Scottish Sun that reported it talked about these women sharing horrific photos of what they experienced from being battered by their partners, spouses, I don't know, boyfriend, girlfriend, but it's really, really heartrending what people go through. And for the most part, some of them, when you see those bruises and those injuries, you wonder how come they're still alive. It's God's mercy and his goodness. The article is called, it started by talking about brutal reality. And when you look at it, it's indeed brutal reality. And I mentioned earlier that in spite of what my platform covers, and in this regard, it's domestic violence and abuse, I would like to keep trying to make the change that would result in different situations and circumstances. And I know that with God's help, everything is possible. I mentioned in my post this morning that For Real Women International's mission, and that is one of the things that helped me to keep doing what I'm doing. That is one of the forums that helped me. Their mission is touch one woman with hope. You've changed her life, her family, her community, her nation. You've touched the world. And some people may wonder, what is For Real Women organization? For Real Women organization is it's as you heard, it's international. You don't have to be one place to join it. They have a lot going on online, and by now many of us are familiar with online forums because we've been forced to do that. For Real organization ministers to women and girls in various communities across the world. We aim to make change. We aim to empower women and girls. And I love their mission, which says, as I mentioned earlier, touch one woman with hope. You've changed her life. You've changed her family. You've changed her community. You've changed her nation. And you've touched the world. What better forum would someone want to be in? And if for any reason you want to be a member of For Real Women, just let me know. You know how to contact me on Facebook, or you can send me an email, harewoodfiona@gmail.com. Get right into it now. First of all, I want to say I'm so sorry for those women and what they suffered. I cannot explain. I cannot explain. I've been there at one point, but I'm no longer there, and still it's incomprehensible to me. But I'm so sorry that they had to go through that. The sad reality, though, is that sorry cannot help. We need to do something. Victims need to do something. So, my reason for being here is for us to brainstorm together. I need your help. We're going to brainstorm what action we could take to promote harmonious relationships, and those that for those people who are locked down right now during this COVID-19 situation, because we know that when you're in limited space, you can get irritable. But before we look at solutions, at how we can promote harmonious relationships, I want us to talk a little about the statistics of what's happening out there. You see, when you're not in it, when it's not in your face, it doesn't hit home as hard. The article reported that killings in homes in the UK doubled during COVID-19 lockdown. And taken from NPR News, it says UN warns that global lockdown is resulting in horrifying surge in domestic violence. Name the places where domestic violence surged: the UK, France, Malaysia, South Africa. In South Africa, authorities said there were nearly 90,000 reports of violence against women in the first week of the lockdown. Can you imagine that? 90,000. Lebanon and Malaysia show that calls to domestic violence hotlines have doubled over the same period last year. Turkey, activists there says the killing of women has risen sharply since the stay-home order was issued on March 11th. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said in an address, and I quote, "Peace is not just the absence of war. Many women under lockdown for COVID-19 face violence where they should be safe, in their homes. Today," he continues, "I appeal for peace in homes around the world. I urge all governments to put women's safety first as they respond to the pandemic." And that's the end of that quote. While I have found, Brother Chimilio, thanks for joining in. While I have not found information or concrete information regarding the figures or the statistics for lockdown in the United States, I was appalled at an article I read from the CDC, and it's a recent article. CDC Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, it said. "Preventing Intimate Partner Violence" was the title of the article. The article reported that 1 in 4 women, which is what I know, but then it went on to say, and nearly 1 in 10 men have experienced contact sexual violence, physical violence, and or stalking by an intimate partner during their lifetime, and reported form of IPV, intimate partner violence, related impacts. And that kind of shocked me, because I thought that the figure for men was way lower than the figure for women. So we have to ask the question, how are our brothers, fathers, husbands, uncles, nephews, cousins, those of the male gender, how are they doing? How are they doing? Because it seems, we know from ever since that domestic violence and abuse is no respect of persons. As I mentioned earlier, my reason for being here is so we can brainstorm actions that could promote harmonious relationships and those that doesn't while people are locked down during the COVID-19 situation. So let's get right into it. You want to start first? You can start shooting me some things that can help promote harmonious relationship at this time. I've been brainstorming with two of my writing partners and we came up with some things, but I'll be glad to see yours first. So if you have anything, shoot me some chats there. Send it in the chats and I'll repeat it. I want to be able to compose it later after I have the video and post it so that those who need it can see. They will be able to access it. First, we're talking about the things that promote harmonious relationships. And if you want me to start, and then you can get in, we were looking at things like read your spouse's mood. You know, there are times, many of us, we don't wake up happy and jolly every day. So sometimes we need to read our spouse's mood and always be aware of our surroundings. Read your spouse's mood, be aware of your surroundings. There are times you may be in a bedroom and it may situate in such a way that you're at the corner to a wall. If something happens and you need to get out, somebody may be blocking your exit. Don't make sure that nothing happens that would make you try to get out and cannot. So always be aware of your surroundings. I see Brenda says, if the relationship is already shaky and or violent, COVID-19 becomes an excuse. That's true. How to make it harmonious if it never, okay, and if it never was. How to make it harmonious if it never was. That's a great question, because if something was never there, then we need to find a way to make it there. Okay. In my mind's eye, I can see we try to live in peace and harmony with each other. There are times relationship it's shaky, but sometimes if you don't provoke situations that will cause issues, it would not, things would stay quiet. Like I recall way back in relationships that I had, when I didn't want a noise, I would be silent for most of that day. And if I'm silent, it's hardly likely that that person would come at me. So sometimes you find that you may have to hold your peace. You can engage in things like, if you want to talk with your partner, if you want to be nice to that person, try commending their actions. Your partner, even though things may not be going well and it's shaky, they may do something nice, because I believe in every bad situation or in every bad person, you can find a little bit of good. So for that day when you're up and you're wondering, look for something that person does that you can commend them on. Take, for instance, they ate and they washed their plate. Oops, sometimes that may cause a noise if you say, well, that was nice that you wash your dish. That may cause a noise, but you have to know your partner. Try to find things that you can commend them on, and for the most part, it will go well. I am praying along certain lines and I'm believing it to work. Sister Bridget says, know your partner's trigger points. And that is so true. That's what I was mentioning earlier. You have to know what triggers them, what would change their mood. Keep looking for things like that. When you know your partner's trigger points, of course, You don't want an issue, so you will try your best to stay clear of certain things that would cause them to be upset. My friend Mary says, sharing and caring for each other. And that is so true. Sometimes we have to care and we have to show that we care. If we care and we keep it inside and we don't do anything to show that, it's questionable. Not that it is that you don't care, but that person may be wondering, how come she says she care and I did this and nothing was done, or she said nothing. Thank you, Rhonda, for watching. Thank you, Kenyatta, for watching. Continuing on my list, we can try things like, when you're in the same space with your abuser, try to meditate. Think on things that are good, things that make you smile. Read books, play games together, and try to reconnect. Pray, sing. There are times when some of these may upset that person and trigger a bad fuse. You have to know your partner. You have to really know your partner in order to choose which of these you can do. But for your own frame of mind, for your own sanity, if you cannot sing out loud and singing ministers to you, hum your song within your spirit, within your heart. Do things that would keep a smile on your face. Okay. My cousin Floressa is on. Thank you, Floressa, for joining. And then we have, right now it's a situation where you can wake up one morning and the pantry is empty. There is no food. If food is running out or money is low, find food at pantries. Sometimes your partner may not be working. He or she may be one of the people that is laid off during this period of time. The situation is already strenuous, it's already stressful. Try not to get it more stressful. So there are churches I know of that give out free food. Find those places and go get food, as opposed to be worrying and stressing. Where are the children going to eat from? What are we going to do? There are food that are given away free in some places, even if you have to make some inquiries. Besides churches, does anybody know of any other places where you can get free food or resources, free supplies? Does anybody know? I only know of churches in the United States. My mom, who lives in Guyana, she told me that her church also was giving out stuff. And I think it's the party people, they send her food. So there are places. Anybody else know of any place where you can go for free supplies, free food? But we're trying not to have food and issue be a stress factor in your relationship at this time. You don't need that. Rhonda Fazio said, schools, she heard that is also helpful along that line. So just ask, your neighbor may know something, your friend may know something. Find out from those people. Okay, so another point is, find a friend or family member and share a phrase or a code word that you can send to them if you are in trouble and need help. Now, sometimes you're in a situation you're by yourself, your children, probably you and your spouse alone, and you don't have contact, or you can use your phone. With social distancing right now, a lot of people are not visiting. But if you can use your phone, find a friend, a confidant who you can talk to and say, hey, if at any time you see my phone show up with the word I'm starving or pine, something, know that I'm in trouble, call 911. I'm not saying that person should go, because there are times when people lose their lives. Oh, it's crazy when people go to help they lose their lives. So before you go help, you need to call 911 if that person need help first. If you think that you can go and it can be all right, then try it. But for the most part, we want people staying safe. Be safe. I see Bridget said some community centers also in your neighborhood may be giving out food and other supplies. So don't stress over it. Try to find places and resources that you can get help from. Sister Brenda Jones says local politicians' offices, state representative offices, assembly persons, etc. So in your community, find out where your state representative office is. Go there for food and whatever you need. Whatever they have, you certainly will get it. But you just have to find a place. Another thing you need to do is try to still have some private time. Now that is not taking into consideration the relationship is shaky. Let's say the relationship is okay. The relationship is okay. Find some spare time where you can still engage, if not physically, mentally. You can talk. You can bring up a conversation. And that kind of thaws the ice. It starts ice thawing when you can bring up a nice friendly conversation. Okay, Bridget Bastian said a female police officer was recently killed answering domestic violence call, and yes, I saw that. That's why I said when the person reach out to you, they must not like go alone. But this is a police. A 911 call was made. That police went and that police died. Isn't that something else? Now, if the police is not safe, you wonder how can civilians be safe? This is where I tell people prayer comes in. Pray like you never prayed before. We have a prayer line that we pray and we cover the police officers and all the frontline workers. I'm going to have to tell my prayer line we need to start praying earnestly and every day for policemen that are in these situations and have to go to houses and homes where they're called for domestic violence and abuse. And if a law enforcement officer is listening, they need to take more precautions. I don't know what more precautions they can take within their groups. They can brainstorm that. But before going out to these places where you're not sure if people are armed with guns or whatever, you policemen and those frontline responders have to be more careful. We don't want to read more about these officers getting gunned down when they go just on the call of duty to help somebody. That's hard, very hard. Somebody else had told me earlier, take time to plan as couples. Now, in this lockdown, you have sometimes, for people who are not working, you have, 24 hours, well, probably 8 or 12 of those hours that you're not asleep. And it's a time, if your relationship is going good, to try to plan as couples. And even in relationships that are not going good, look at your partner's mood. That is going back to the first point, and see how you can broach certain topics with him or her. As I said, in every bad person, there's a good part. So we can try our best, but there are times when you have to pray. You have to pray, pray, pray. For those of you who don't believe in prayer and who don't pray, I know you have some sort of higher power that you rely on. Remember that this is not a situation that you can face alone, so you will need to draw from whatever source you draw from. Don't do it alone. I see my buddy friend Yvette has joined. I am so glad to see you, Yvette. Okay. Any other actions that those who are locked in the same space with their abusers, any actions that they can take so that they can stay safe and not end up like the post I did this morning with 4 women in their lockdown situation being battered by their spouses, abusers. Any other suggestion before we go to the actions that doesn't promote harmonious relationships? And you know, when I was finished making my list, I was glad that I did not, my list for the actions that doesn't was shorter than my list that for the ones that can promote harmonious relationships. Okay, I see Bridget says, protect your children. That is so true. That is vital. That is important. Protect your children. Right now, I read situations in Pennsylvania where some courts are on lockdown. They said that they're still open to issue protection orders for victims, but children are not in school, and sometimes they can be in the same space with their abuser too. Please, neighbors, friends, family members, look out for your children. There's some children may not say a word, but if you know that child good enough, you may be able to look at that child and see that something is wrong. They may be acting some way out of character that may cause you to realize that something is wrong. Hi, Kiwasha, thank you for joining. Okay, so I want to look at the 2 points I have that are actions to promote. No, these are actions that does not promote harmonious relationship. 1, do not nag your spouse if he or she is not working and funds are running low. It's a situation where many people are home. Some people got laid off, furloughed, and no money is coming in. As we mentioned earlier, eating is the most important at this point. You don't need nails done. You don't need hair done. I haven't had a hairdo in about 10 weeks. Mercy. You don't need those kind of things. You need food. So if your spouse, he or she, is not working and food is not there, go where you can get food. Don't nag. Don't even mention, oh boy, the refrigerator don't have anything. And there goes another reason how you can pray. Pray. God, send some food. We need help. I've done prayers like those and I've seen it answered. You can do that. You need to remind each other that you are in this together and you will get through it together. A soft answer, turn away wrath. Soft answers, turn away wrath. Remind each other we're in this together. My friend Mary says, trust the Lord for guidance so that you can receive wisdom to know what to do. Very good, Mary. Trust the Lord for guidance. And this is yet another way where we're telling you, rely on the Lord. But as I said earlier, some people don't. And this is not a situation where you are left out. You know your source. You know your source of strength. If you don't have a source of strength, then try Jesus, by all means. And my last point for the actions that doesn't promote harmonious relationship, if there are sensitive issues that can wait for discussion, don't touch it now. Don't touch it. Let it wait. Some situations you only have to mention it and it bursts a blood vessel in somebody else. You don't want to mention those kind of situations. Let them be. Leave it alone. If your life don't depend on it, leave it alone. And as I said, my my list of what does not promote harmonious relationship is shorter than my list of what promotes harmonious relationship. So just before I close, for those who may have just joined, I just want to recap on a few of the things that we shared that will promote harmonious relationship while you are locked down with your abuser. Okay, Bridget tells me and us we can call and check on friends and family and acquaintances. They may not be able to call out, but if you call, you may be able, okay. But if you call, you may be able to pick up on if something is wrong. Ask questions during the conversation. Listen without judging. Beautiful, Sister Bridget. And I'm going to read this again because I read it a little choppy just now. She said, call and check on friends, family, and acquaintances. They may not be able to call out, but if you call, you may be able to pick up on if something is wrong. Ask questions during the conversation. Listen without judging. And after you ask those questions, you may be able to know whether you need to take further actions. Those further actions would be to get help for them. Don't put yourself in harm's way because you never know. Sometimes, as I keep saying, some relationships can be mended without people splitting up. But if somebody is gonna batter you, like some of those pictures that I showed on my Facebook page this morning that I myself hardly was able to watch at. If somebody's gonna do that to you, they can kill you. So you don't need to be in that person's space. For some reason, victims don't just leave, for many reasons. And we cannot judge them. We don't know the situation, but we can encourage them. If you pick up the phone and you call somebody and you realize that they're not answering your questions, that person is probably right there listening to that conversation or something. So you still need to take cues when they're not answering. You may have to back off with your question and send help. You may need to say to the person, if you're not answering me, I will call 911. If the person don't want you to do that and they are in a situation where they can say, well, no, don't, or no, then you may have to not bother. But we have to trust our intuitions. We have to trust our inner gut sometimes. But I want to remind each and every person, stay safe. And just recapping on some of the things that we had in order to promote harmonious relationships at this time when COVID-19 is stripping away safe havens from victims. Read your spouse's mood. Always be aware of your surroundings. Try to meditate. Think on things that are good. Think things that make you smile. Read books, play games together, and reconnect. Pray, sing. Commend each other when something good is done. If food is running low and money is running out, find food. You can go to pantries at your churches, in your community. You can go to your state representative offices. You can go to community centers. There are places that you can go. Don't stress over that kind of situation. Find a friend or family where you can share a phrase or a code that when you send them that phrase or code, they know that you need help. Try to still have some private time. It may not be physically, it could be mentally. However, you need to know your situation that you're in. And take time to plan as couples during this time that you have a spare time. Some of the things that will not promote harmonious relationship is nagging your spouse if you realize your spouse is not working and money or food is running low. That will not help the situation. That will irritate the situation. Find food or whatever you need somehow. There are places that are available that are giving out. You don't have to put yourself in harm's way. And finally, if there are sensitive issues that can wait for discussion, don't touch it now. Let it wait. I again want to say I'm sorry that my platform is not more of laughter and fun. But this is where the Lord has put me, in this part of the vineyard, and I would like to meet as many as possible by helping in whatever way I can. When I read that post this morning before I put it on my Facebook page, it tore me up. And I'm like, mercy God. Those are my favorite words. Mercy God. And that is what I'm saying, help God. And the Spirit said to me, you need to come up with a plan where you can tell people what they can do, some of the things that can help in this situation. And that's when I texted my brother and my sister in my writers group and I said, hey, can you help me? We need to brainstorm. I'm thankful for those of you who joined in, those of you who contributed, and we know that this will help many. Remember to check in on your family and friends. And again, thank you so much for joining. I had some people from Guyana that I saw join in, my home country buddies. Thank you very much, Anne and Yvette and Floressa. Thank you so much. And then we had some Philly buddies, some New York ones, and you were from all around. Thank you so much. Have a blessed and good balance of the afternoon. Stay safe and ensure that somebody else is safe. Blessings your way. Bye.